My dad was a fireman's fireman. He loved the job. Firehouse, because he loved the fire, he always wanted one of his sons to be a fireman. And he was always pushing me. I was a lifeguard for the city during a couple summers. Then I was still going to UH, I had a lifeguard job on Kailo Beach. They had a lifeguard from 12 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I did that job for a while. And you're still pushing firehouse. Dad, sitting on the beach, enjoying the sight. What do you want to go be a fireman for? But take the test. Okay. So I took the test, I got in, I followed through on the thing. And, the camaraderie the fire department offers, all of these guys you're in class with, they all went through the same thing you went through. We're all doing surfing Hawaii is a very active community. Nobody's sitting down with a computer in their hand. I mean, you're doing something all the time, and it's always challenging. So it builds a camaraderie among the people. But my dad was the biggest influence on me to be a fireman. At that time, the fire department theory was you go from station to station, and when you recruit, every 3 months they transfer you someplace. And every place you go, it's a new thing for you. So the captain that you have usually is your most, and everybody, all these officers handle their people differently. They never had a class that they went to do, this is how a captain acts. Everything they learned was through attrition or on-the-job training. So they all had a different way of approaching things. And I always said that, man, these buggers, they're pretty sharp. A fireman, the amazing thing is when the alarm goes off in the station, you jump on a truck, you rush down to the scene. You, the officer, you got to make a decision of where you're going to place your manpower, how you're going to establish your water supply, positioning of the truck, people all of these decisions are made. You don't have time like an engineer to sit down and evaluate plans. This is all off the hip, just from experience. And it gave me a perspective of firemen as the ability to make decisions on their feet. And might not be 100% right, but I tell you what, 99% of the time they're right close. And I've been to hundreds of critiques of fires, and every time you sit on the critique, they say, well, this is what I did. And they say, oh, you could have done it. Yeah, you could have done it. But you're not sitting in the front seat making that decision. You know what I mean? But when you take a step back, most of the work they do is right on the money all the time. And that was a very impressive thing on me anyway. Like I say, each captain had his own technique of how he did things. Some were very entertaining, others were very stern, but they accomplished the job. Coming in the door, it's the camaraderie that keeps you there. I went through a period of time, I was stationed at Manoa Fire Station. In those days, Manoa Fire Station was an old house up in Manoa. It wasn't the new station they have today. Right next door was a graveyard, had a big backyard, so I used to go chip. It was a very slow station. And I remember either it was a Saturday or a Sunday, the station had a kitchen and one big room that was all the beds and a big pool table and that kind of thing. All the neighborhood would come over there and they're shooting pool. In the afternoon, after 12 o'clock, you dress in your blacks at that time. There's no blacks now. I think we standardized the uniform. And I couldn't see myself. Here I am sitting at this station in the middle of nowhere. All these old timers shooting pool. I could care. I wanted to be down the beach playing volleyball. That's where I came from. And it was probably a low point in my career. I went up to my captain, this guy Maxie. Hey, Cap, I think I'm gonna go. Huh? What do you mean you're gonna go? I can't handle this. I'm sitting over here. I'm thinking about going down the beach, play volleyball. Well, anyway, he sat me down and put things in perspective that, fire department, you're gonna have a lot of time sitting around. It's an adjustment all by itself. For a young kid coming in going 100 miles an hour, all of a sudden you ask them to sit down, relax. It's a hard thing. You'd rather be going all the time for most people. But at the same time, you got to realize that you better take advantage of the sit-out time, because the day going to come, you're not going to be able to sit out. You're going to be running around all day long. And so, but to understand that and get a perspective for a young fireman, I think is one of the hardest things to do. And basically, the proof is in the pudding. You look at firemen; they always got something else going on. They know how to do their job, but on the side, they might be building houses or throwing bags at the airlines and all kinds of different opportunities that present themselves to him. And so I always liked Maxie. He was a calm guy. He sat down, he did his thing, but he was always ready to go. The best job I had in the department was battalion chief. I was a battalion chief for 18 years. The flexibility that the battalion chief has is compared to a captain, you have 4 or 5 men under you. Battalion chief, you have a bunch of companies under you. And a battalion chief is like I used to call myself the owner of the baseball team. You guys play for me. But you try to coordinate things so that you have your whole battalion coming together as one unit. You go to work in the morning, you do your routine paperwork and your manpower and all that stuff. But you could jump in the car and go to the North Shore. You visit every station all the way down, maybe have lunch someplace down there, pick up all the paperwork. You go around to town, deliver the stuff to Central, at the time was the headquarters. And so semi-circle island tour. But it was great. I enjoyed it. I think at every level you serve at, you have a challenging day. One of the things that jumps out at me is I was on rescue. I got promoted to rescue. And one day we went up to Manoa Falls, on the left side of the falls, about 3 or 4, maybe 6 falls in. And we were climbing. And the guy above me, the engineer, Marty, stepped on a stone. The thing came down, hit me in the side of the jaw over here. Whack, under it. We had a helmet on, but hit me right on it. But we finished the day, came back. At that time, rescue, I was still at Paua Station. Came back, we went to a couple of alarms again. In the middle of the night, then we had a nice high-rise fire we went to. I mean, it was like get up in the morning, go to work, and stay at work all day, no rest in between. I was a battalion chief at Central for a while. And Central, the chief officer covers in. If 4th Battalion has something going, you catch the next alarm. 2nd Battalion, something going, you catch the next alarm. So 4th Battalion, during the summer months, they're running crazy with all their brush fires and all that. And we went down there and never came back till 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. We sat down to eat. We had another alarm at the Ilikai Hotel. At that time, the incident command system was set up that high-rise fire. The 1st Battalion chief goes up to the fire floor or before, sets a command post either below the fire floor or whatever. 2nd in, you do the outside command. And so I had this kid, Tejada. He was a new recruit at Central. I said, hey, Kenny, you driving today? So he caught all that. We were down the country all day, chasing fire from Haleiwa all the way to, we had a building fire in Waipahu the same day. But anyway, it was a busy day. So we're coming down Bishop Street. I said, slow down, slow down, slow down. Damn, car coming through there, Nimitz, no lights on. Would have creamed us, so that kind of jumped out at me. And then we ended up at the Ilikai Hotel. He's a new guy, right? He only drove a couple times. Hey, so a guy came up to me, I was outside. Hey, the fire is burning on the other side of the building. I said, what? Yeah. He says, hey, Kenny, you go run with this guy, go take a look, because I can't go over there. So he went down, came back with a reflection coming off one of the buildings or something on the glass, but nothing big. That fire had a fatality. The guy died in the room. So I told him, hey, come on, we're going to go upstairs, see what's going on. So that was his first fatality that he went to. So it was kind of a first day for, later on, he's been a very successful firefighter. He's maintained his whole career throughout the department. And I like to think that exposure kind of gave him to, hey, this is what can happen. You don't look forward to it, but there are days that's going to be like that can jump out at you. I had a couple of incidents like that. Again, battalion chief, we were responding to a fire in Kahalu, building fire. coming down Mocapo Boulevard and Oniava, you know where Oniava comes over the bridge right in front of Color Hills. Guy broadsided us. George Wright was my driver. Hit us, we slid all the way across the intersection to the pole, the light pole that's on the corner, on the Color Hill side, on the Color Hill High School side of the intersection. And that damn pole, you know, you got your seatbelt on, right? That pole hit me didn't hit me, hit the car right behind my seat and caved that bugger in all the way to the middle of the car. And, but not really, I mean, we got out, we were fine. You know, I got on the radio, hey, we're in an accident, sent another, you know, Fraga was made him the acting BC, he took over. But you become close to the people you're working with. I've always tried to treat them like my family. And I've had a couple problems along the way that I had to discipline guys and fire people. But you know, you sit there and fire them and cry with them at the same time. You know, they work hard to get where they are. They made poor mistakes. One of the big problems was from time to time, guys getting caught with drugs, where they lost their family, they lost their house. You know, the last step is you're going to lose your job. And all along the way, they've been protected by people trying to help them. But, and that's the problem with the camaraderie part. You become their supervisor, but you was down there with them at one time. You know who they are. You know their kids. You know their, you know, and it's tough. I think that's the hardest part to come out of there smiling that you did the right thing without, you know, overstepping your boundaries. Still, it's a step back and understanding where the rest of these guys are coming from and how you're going to pull them together to operate. You know, have confidence in your people that they can do anything without you there. You know, one of the things I used to do is I used to let the firefighters run the station. And the reason for that is because they got to go in there and do the paperwork. They all like be firemen and dragging hose and running up, but nobody like do the paperwork or what's involved in the thing. And some guys adopt easily. Other people don't adopt easily. Which is another problem I had when I took over as chief, was the department was moving from pencil and paper to the computer. So how they went about it, we had 2 technicians assigned to the department. They were computer people. They're not firemen, they're computer people. Well, when I went up there, they kind of look at the firemen like they're a bunch of dummies. You know what I mean? God, they don't know. So what we did, we put the computer and let them play with it so they learn how to do the thing. Tell them no. I was a battalion chief. One of the things that pissed me off was I had to go up there and the monthly reports. The girls up there print out the monthly report on ditto machine, give it to all the battalions, and the battalion chief run around and take it to each of the stations. So, you know, this is a simple thing. How come we can't press the button, do it, and email it to each station? Why are we printing this thing out? You know, and I had a big war with the tech people up there. And one guy bought, oh, okay. The other one was, oh, well, you know how that goes. Again, dealing with people, right? Well, one of the things, again, going back to the fire chief's job, the challenges was EMS. You know, up to that time, we were considered first aiders, basically. I wanted to upgrade the firemen to first responders, which is a little different. We were dealing with the state. The state wanted all of our firefighters to go to community college to take the class. We got defibrillators. When I was there, we got defibrillators already. I wanted to upgrade them. Somebody stepped into said, hey, Chief, we upgrade all your defibrillators for you. We give the guys training. Oh, sounds good. Well, a state got wind. Oh, no, you can't do that. How come you guys get, we don't want to, you know. I said, you know, this is an idiot machine in the meeting. Idiot machine. I said, yeah, you go on the mainland. It's hanging in the stadiums, in apartment buildings on the wall. It's designed for the guy that don't do nothing. Pick this up, put it down, hook you up, and operate it. It's not a training. I said, we trained in the thing. But the state was trying to maintain the power of the deal, right? Okay. You got to surround yourself with people that you feel comfortable with, and you got to surround yourself with people that you know can follow your instructions and do the job. I think any fire chief walks in has new ideas how things should be accomplished. And keeping up with what is here, what is now in place, and bringing your department up to that level is the biggest challenge you have. So, like any organization, complacency is probably one of the biggest problems you have. People are used to doing things one way, and you want to move them on up, and that's your challenge. So now you're the fire chief, and you're concerning yourself with probably a human resource kind of problem. You know what I mean? This person is the head of a bureau or something. That whole bureau is only going to go to that level. You know, I've always believed in, nobody's expendable. And I found it out. When I was a captain, I go home. Next day, another guy sitting in the seat. The department runs 24/7. I don't care if I'm there or I'm not there. And I took the same attitude when I was the fire chief. If my time came up, I'm walking out the door, I'm done. Next guy, right? And he might stumble around for a while, but he'll get his act together and realize if the motivation of that individual is. And I think nowadays we've eliminated, or that's one of the other things I did was get the fire commission in there. And hopefully, I mean, there was politics in that when I first started out too. That was a big politics. But basically, they're picking people that have been trained for the job. They can step in and take the chief's position, I've had, when I was there, I kind of surrounded myself with people that were going to be battalion chiefs or battalion chiefs already. And the way to introduce them to administration was bring them in and give them an assignment. Take care of this part of it. Like I said, we had the helicopter thing. When we had the investigation for the helicopter, we had a lot of, I call blank spaces that had to be filled in. So you had to have a chief officer sit down with the pilots, come up with the procedures, what we're going to do, how we're going to document, make sure that we covered according to FAA. These are regulations outside of our department we're concerned with. We took it for granted that the pilots were doing it. They're not doing it. But how can you have a guy who's a firefighter come over here, evaluate a pilot whether he's doing FAA stuff, things like that. So there's challenges, and they'll come hit you in the face sooner or later. But I think your preparation, to me, I felt I understood the fire department, where everybody fit. And I made it a point to jump in my car and go chase fires everywhere. People used to criticize, hey, you're not your job. I said, well, I'm not over there fighting a fire. I'm over there evaluating. Do we have the proper equipment? Are the guys properly trained? One of the things we did was we introduced a T-shirt to the fire department. Hey, I went through blacks, and I went through blues, and I went through dungeony pants, but we never have one T-shirt. I mean, these guys are working around the station all day. Should have one T-shirt. So sat down with the union, hey, black, what do you think? Design something. So we came up with a T-shirt. I think it's still being used today. We made it part of the uniform. Yeah, there you go. See, no change, right? So I guess we were right for the first try. Chief's job is, like I said, you got your kids, right, and they're all family. And we got to know him real good. I had, I think the worst one was a recruit. His father was a fireman. Finally got in the fire department, went through the recruit class, everything. Kind of lost track of him. Then at the end of the recruit class, just before they made their probation, they had a drug test. The brother tested positive. No choice. In those days, I don't know what it is now. You get positive while you're a recruit, automatic dismissal. There's no second chance. Everybody else, we sent them to classes or whatever. And I had to call him in, brother. And, the kid, because we played all baseball together. They grew up with my kids. And it's a very sad moment, but it's something you got to do, right? Hurt me just as much as hurt him, I think. But to me, that's the worst thing to do. You wish you could pass it off to somebody else, but basically you stuck with the ball. The way I look at it, I had to get involved with the thing, but yeah, that was the worst one to me. I was retired, so it's a nice attitude to have when you go back and you're already retired, because you can make decisions. I don't care if you fire me tomorrow, frick you. And so when I sat down with the mayor at that time, I told him my attitude. Mayor, coming back here, I don't mind being the fire chief, but I'm going to be the fire chief, you be the mayor. I said, fine. I said, I think we need a commission. So he helped push the commission thing. He had to do his two-step and bob and weave because the union didn't want it, and you got to deal with them and all that. But it went through. It got passed. The council people, and we worked it. we were hoping that once that happened, the politics would be eliminated completely. I don't think it is. What happened was the union appointed all the commissioners. The mayor made the appointment, but the union did the selection, you know what I mean? And that was the first time around. So I was the chief, and they were the commissioners. I had to get them established. I had to find a place to house them, furniture, you know, have meetings, all that stuff. I took it upon myself. When I did the budget, everybody does the budget, but I did the budget presentation. I did the budget presentation. So I stood up there, and they were all, because I got to get the message across that I'm not over here wishy-washy. I know my job, you know. So I made the budget presentation to them, and they came, each one kind of contacted me, and, hey, that was good. So I just want to let you know that the department is professional. You know, we got to deal with the union, and we got the same customer as far as I'm concerned. You know, the firefighter, I want to make sure the guy go home tomorrow morning. What I got to do to make him go home is toe the line. I'm going to make him toe the line. You know, the union, they represent him also. You know, so I think that was an important thing, that everybody knew where I stood. I knew where they stood, but I know there's a give and take involved, and you got to give and take. That's the name of the game. It's not a one-way street, you know. The international firefighters came down. They had a meeting at the Sheraton. Said, hey, Chief, you can give a speech. You know, the union's role is adversary to the fire chief. You and I are not supposed to be in the same bed. You know what I mean? That's not the way it works. A typical union is you're on one side of. So anyway, my speech was about customer service to the fire. So you and I, we got the same job. So I kind of had a mixed reaction, I think, to the thing. Some people came and say, you know, you're right. Some people came and say, you know, fire chief, I said, you guys represent the country. Fire departments in some place have an authoritarian thing that I do it my way and you guys get no say. You know, they let the safety of the men go to hell. You know, I'm concerned. I like to see it, but I only got so many dollars. I look at the department today. How many times they change firefighting gear, and how much you got to carry a freaking bag around with them nowadays. You know, when I was at the National Academy, we went through the uniform, firefighting uniform. And one of the concerns was, if we protect the firefighter too much, he's going to take too much risk. You know, or he's going too close to the fire. It's good to have, you know, with the heat and all that, because they had face shield, they had helmet on your neck, hands, everything protected. And so that question always exists. But I think if you train a firefighter properly, they know what their limitations are. Now they got a lot of new rules, you know, one guy in, one guy out, all kinds of different things that you as a fire captain or you as a battalion chief got to take into concern, right? So you adjust your performance around the standards so people don't get hurt, and that's the bottom line. My perspective of before I became fire chief was that you catered to the mayor. We had some very strong mayors. Fossey ran the fire department. You know what I mean? Harris was a little bit different situation. He had appointed a fire chief, and it kind of blew up in his face because the whole department was in rebellion. I came along and I said, okay, this is the solution. I'm going to run the department, you be the mayor. It was easy for me. He already experienced that. He didn't want to go back to that. My job was to convince the guys that, hey, now I'm fair. If you're on the list, I'm going to promote down the list. It used to piss me off when I read the paper and they're saying something about me, and I never said nothing, you know what I mean? The politicians look for mileage, you know, and at your expense. So I go confront them. I go down there, you know, well, you know, chief, you know how it is, you know. We got to do this so people don't think we're doing anything, you know what I mean? Hey, at my expense, at least warn me or something, you know, or I can help you come up with some kind of scenario to make you look good, but you get caught in that. There's no way out of that. They're politicians and they're thinking of, you know, like I told you, the Pololo thing. Some councilman went contact some agency that evaluate fire departments. They come over here and they say, oh, you can get, you know, you don't need Kaimaki Station because Pololo Station is right here. They can go right there. Oh, you come straight to the cliff they got to climb to get up there. So there's a lot of holes in their things, but you don't go run back and nail them. You just kind of, at that particular meeting, the managing director was there, the budget guy was there, the councilman, you know. You guys understand Pololo Valley, how that thing operates over there? And then I had one where they wanted to get rid of Ladder 29, and I kind of circumvented the thing, and I took it upon myself. We have representatives that go to the neighborhood board at that time. Tell you know, I'm going to the neighborhood board. Huh? Yeah, I'll go down. And you go down and explain to the neighborhood board that, look, we're going to cut back Ladder 29. We have coverage. And I explained to them. I think I told you this. Or I was talking to somebody. But, well, I'm not asking them to go after the councilman. I'm just telling them the facts that they're cutting back. And we're still going to provide the coverage. We got Manoa can come down, and we got coverage. Well, the people, well, why are we getting cut? Nobody else getting cut, you know. They make noise. They get back to the councilman. Now he's under pressure again. They're calling me up. What can we? I said, look, my obligation is keep the public informed. We're going to make changes like this. We should inform them. Well, yeah, but, you know, so he opened his mouth. I found a way to get back. But, and that's tactical kind of things that I think the chief, you know, everything comes at you. You got to kind of, molly the thing. You know, fire trucks. I mean, we were getting like one fire truck every 2 years, and the thing took 2 years to build, and we give them the money first, and then they build them. And I don't know. I always felt that there was more to do. When I walked out the door, I could have sat there another couple of years and go on forever. And basically, I figured about an 8 or something. Like whatever came my way, I took it on. I didn't push anything to the side, or try to ditch anything. I felt that my opinion was right. I had the support of the people around me. We checked it out, and we took the action to correct the problem. The sexual harassment thing, I brought outsiders in, the lawyers in. I didn't want to get involved in that, but our staff was all involved. I mean, so I think as things, like you say, drop out of the air in your lap, you got to take it on. You can't duck it. The problem is that when you take it on, the results don't come out till years later. It's not something you do today like pound a nail and you got the board stuck to the wall. You pound a nail, but actually don't help until way down here, then you see and you never get to finish that up. You never know how it turns out. You know that it's heading in the right direction. I went to a couple of blessings and stuff like that. So the stations we wanted to build finally start coming to. This headquarters was started way back. I don't know how many years took to get it finally get going. Couple A area, way back started. New fire trucks, upgrading the fire trucks like that. For years they've been trying to do it. You get it started, I think the first year we got like 8 or 10 trucks or something, then a couple of years. But I'm gone. I'm looking over my shoulder. Oh, hey, they got new trucks. Hey, they got different uniform, And that's basically how it goes. You never see anything to completion, I don't think. As soon as you get one thing done, it seems like something else is dropping in your lap and you're taking on another challenge.
Very good point. Very good point. When you think about the Honolulu Fire Department, what comes to your mind?
I'm very proud of the Honolulu Fire Department. One of the advantages of going to the National Fire Academy, you're dealing with people from around the country. We're one of the bigger fire departments around. We're like right behind San Antonio for a while, or right in front of San Antonio. Today, San Antonio got a population of 1.5 million, so I'm familiar because I go there quite a bit. And I met the chief there years later, and we went to lunch and stuff like that, and he ran me around. But we have a special niche in fire departments. I tell you what, our charter says we take care of mountain, we take care of water, we take care of fire, we take care of EMS, fire prevention, and all the things like around that go there. It's a mandate that we carry. But our department, I think we have the recognition because we do so many things outside the box. I remember in the old days, Sunset Fire Station had surfboards on the side of the truck. Thing made the paper in the mainland someplace. Hey, look at these guys, they're surfing off duty. But that has graduated now. In fact, that's another program that started a long time ago. We started off with boats. Then we ended up with Zodiacs because we figured out we can carry them straight across the beach. We don't have to go to a launching ramp with them. Today is jet skis, right? So to me, that's the ultimate. You can get in the water, you can drag them across the sand and access pretty much any place. And so we've made progress. In the old days, I remember when I was on a rescue squad, they put us in a car with a surfboard on top and we go what we used to call sunset patrol. In the winter months of the big waves, we never had lifeguards. Then finally the helicopter came along. That made a big difference. But those guys at Sunset, they were in the water. They're the first responders. They jump in and go. And over the years, the exciting, you'd think people hate that job, right? The old house they had, in the old days, was just a house, but it was on stilts. The waves used to break, used to go under the house. So the guys hey, you better sleep with your fins next to your bed because you might be, But when I made chief, I met a couple guys, they're up for engineer like that. So they come in, interview, man, you ready to take the job? Chief, I don't want to get promoted unless I get promoted down there. They turn down the promotion because they don't want to come put some time in town and then go. They love the job so much. They think they're going to go back to the exact same station. Say, hey, not going to happen. You're going to have to, there's other guys want that. They weren't. But, so the worst assignment sometimes, somebody loves it someplace. They want to be there. They're not afraid of the job. We got good talent. We got good people. I don't think we got anything to be ashamed of. There was a time there where I was kind of ashamed of our equipment. We had stuff like this. But we never had money. The chief had to run them. I remember I was, again, Kanaka Kinai Fire Station. The captain let me, hey, Andy, go drive. I drive, you step on the brake. You got to stand up on the brake. It was all mechanical brakes. The cars, stop. It was a criminal. But that's what we went through, right? I enjoyed my career. I've had a good time. When you get to this age, you had a lot of friends that you knew that are no longer with us. When you walk out the door, everybody goes their own way. Everybody's heading out. You lose that. Time to time, you get together, you might run into people and all that stuff. But I think that everybody misses that part of the job. And the department has made us all proud. It's a department made up of people. People cannot be perfect every time, so you got to understand that. But at the end of the day, like I used to tell people when I was the fire chief, I said, look out the window, you see any smoke? Perfect day. We got it all done, right?